Hi, and welcome to the Prado Museum. We're here again a few minutes before the museum opens to the public on the social media programming with our outreach in English. These sessions in English, as you know, are supported by the nonprofit American Friends of the Prado Museum, and we encourage you to find out more about us. We thank our supporters, find out about us and our sister institution in Spain, the Fundación Amigos del Museo del Prado, as to how to maybe get involved and support further this great museum. Today will be the last day before our summer break of the sessions in English, so thank you so much for listening to us during this season. Today we're on the ground floor in the museum in a very special gallery that is dedicated to Renaissance painting of Germany. And although it is not the most extensive part of the Prado's collection, it has some very excellent and outstanding works. For example, Albrecht Dürer, which is what we're seeing right now, and Hans Boldungren, and also Lucas Cranach the Elder. And these are the works we're going to look at today. We're going to have an approach to Lucas Cranach the Elder. So Lucas Cranach lived a very long life. He was born in the 1470s, lived up to the 1550s, and he began painting in Vienna, and from there he was called to be court painter for the Electorate of Saxony. And so the Electorate of Saxony was one of the territories of the Holy Roman Empire. And so he moved his painting workshop to Wittenberg, and there Wittenberg was the seat of this Electorate of Saxony. There was a university. Lucas Cranach would paint for 3 successive prince-electors, and he was prosperous and successful and set up a very large workshop to satisfy the demand of painting. He was influenced also by Albrecht Dürer, but then took his own road. He had a large workshop where he included his children. That's why we have Lucas Cranach the Elder and Lucas Cranach the Younger. And he was also painting at a time where the University of Wittenberg, one of the professors was Martin Luther. Martin Luther of the Protestant Reformation, who nails onto the Church of Wittenberg, where they are, his 95 Theses of protest of corruption in the Catholic Church. So Lucas Cranach is actually friends with Martin Luther, and he's actually known mostly to us today for his images of Martin Luther, his kind of images of the first phase of the Protestant Reformation. He even had a printing press in his home, and his engravings would decorate the first Bible that was translated by Martin Luther. So he's very much part of the Protestant Reformation imagery. Now, at the same time, he's painting for the electorate, the Prince Electorate of Saxony. And what we have here, in this painting, we have a large landscape with a large hunting scene under a castle, but we're going to really benefit from having a little bit of context, one moment, a little bit of context about religion and politics. So what we have here is the third electorate that Lucas Cranach is painting for is this figure here, Johann Frederick I, also known as the Magnanimous. And he is a great defender of the Protestant Reformation. He's commissioned this painting, which is a political gift, a diplomatic gift, that he will give to this figure that we see next to him and we recognize through many paintings here at the Prado Museum. This is who we know as Charles V. He's the Holy Roman Emperor, and the same person we remember is also Charles I, King of Spain. So he has multiple titles, but it's the same person. And here he's acting as the Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire, of which Johann Frederick of Saxony is one of the electorates and part of the territory. So this is painted in the 1540s, and Johann Frederick the Magnanimous, he actually commissions a series of paintings, and we have two examples here at the Prado, of these hunting scenes with other rulers that are hunting scenes in honor of the other rulers. They're given as diplomatic gifts to reinforce alliances and ties. So we have two of these images of Cranach here at the Prado, and the one we're going to look at today is the hunt at the Castle of Torgau in honor of Charles V. So the Castle of Torgau is part of Johann Frederick's territory. We understand one of his most favorite castles. It's down the Elbe River from Wittenberg. You go down the river and there's the town of Torgau and this beautiful German Renaissance castle, which by the way is still standing today, and you may visit it if you ever travel there. And we have an approach of this very rich and detailed hunt where the electorate, Johann Frederick, is offering this hunt in honor of Charles V. We see all different types of hunting, deer hunting, how hunting scenes are organized with men and with dogs, the strategy of hunting. Hunting is considered a noble practice because it exercises, it's kind of in preparation for military campaigns. You needed a vast, rich territory to be able to offer all these type of hunts. And here we have a very rich amount of hunting with this bear hunt that we were just seeing here. There's bear hunting here, there's fox hunting, hare hunting, wild boar hunting, and deer hunting. And the amazing thing, first of all, Cranach's technique is almost as a miniaturist. There's so much amazing detail. And this is an oil on panel, and I just want to take a moment to say this is almost 500 years old, and look at what fantastic shape it's in. So we're very privileged with this. So going back to Lucas Cranach, he in Wittenberg was made, he was given a nobility title very soon, and he would always sign his paintings with a symbol from his coat of arms, which is a winged serpent. And here he actually added for us this great hint of 1544 as the year it was painted. And at the top we see also the other coat of arms, which is for the electorate of Saxony, the Duchy of Saxony. So the wild thing about this painting is that this hunt never existed. This is an allegory, a diplomatic gift at a very precise time of conflict and alliances. So this is created to be a gift for Charles V in the year 1544, where the Emperor Charles has created an imperial meeting called the Diet of Speyer, but it means a meeting, and he is coming to make an alliance with these Protestant princes, like we see right next to him another Philip I of Pomerania. These are Protestant German princes, whereas the Holy Roman Emperor is very Catholic. They're part of the same empire. They're underneath the Holy Roman Empire, and Charles is coming at a moment to make an alliance with them against his great enemy, the King of France, Francis I. So it's a moment of political stability. Hunting also is an allegory of good governing for Johann Frederick. Good governing, that governors need to work together to maintain the peace. And it's also a moment of legitimacy, because at this same meeting, Charles V finally ratifies his marriage with his wife, Sibylla of Cleves, who's also seen here hunting. Everyone's hunting with a crossbow, but we see that Sibylla is also hunting, and we have her ladies in waiting, and look at her gorgeous clothes. And so it's legitimacy that they have this wealthy territory with all of this hunting. And also we have the figure of their son and heir, because they had married practically 20 years earlier and finally got ratified by the Holy Roman Emperor. And so it was a moment of celebration for Johann Friedrich to have this approval, and it's a diplomatic gift. So it's a moment of hope for this alliance. Now, to tell you what actually later happened is a few years later, maybe just 3 or 4 years later, these Lutheran princes are already in a league called the Schmalkaldic League, which is that they will defend each other against the Catholic Holy Roman Empire within which they belong. So there's a lot of conflict going on. And there will be a war between these two figures and the other German princes, where Charles V will end up being victorious. And it's a battle that takes place further down the Elbe River in the town of Mulberg. And upstairs, we have the victorious Charles V on horseback, equestrian portrait by Titian that is celebrating his victory over this same figure and his colleagues in the Schmalkaldic League. And we also have Johann Friedrich, who is captured in that battle and made prisoner. We have his portrait also by Titian, where he is defeated and has a wound on his face. And so this historical context, I think, just helps us, when we come into this room, approach these paintings a lot more. Of course, they're beautiful. I didn't go into any of the painting part, the approach of the hunting scenes, the traps. Come and enjoy it, but knowing what's behind and what the movements are happening between all of these figures, I think really helps us make our first approach to this painting of the hunt on the territory of the Castle of Torgau. So thank you very much for seeing us today, and we hope to see you again next season.